A very warm good morning to all of you. Again, I am here to teach you moral science. So, children, take out your book and open page number that is 28. We have completed till here. So, again, I am repeating the story for you. That was, we have started lesson number 5, The Wise Caveman. In this, what we have read about that there was once a very huge mountain where lots of trees and bushes were there, and there two families were there, the Greys and the Greens, and sometimes they have some discussion for how to obtain wood to make fire and heat. So one day they all gathered and they had a discussion. Peter felt he was ready to join the conversation of the elders. Now Peter was who? Peter was from the family of Greys. He was 14-year-old. The wise grandfather of the Greens listened intently to the young man. He was just listening. That grandfather from Greens, he was listening to Peter, who was from the family of Greys. So he was just listening, that he believed that the trees were there to be felled, and it didn't matter if they were replaced or not because they take so long to grow. Now, what was Peter's thought? That it doesn't matter if we cut the trees because they take so long time to grow. Now, we'll start from the next paragraph from here. Once Peter had given his opinion to wise grandfather, took his time and replied, "Nature is patient, my boy, and we must be patient with it too." Now, after listening Peter's opinion, what grandfather told is, nature is patient, my boy, and we must be patient with it too. So we should always keep patience with us because nature is having patience. So then he proposed an experiment. He shaved off his hairs on his head and said, "I have shaved off all my hairs. Now we shall see what nature does to maintain the balance on my head. Come and see me in a month." Now what has happened? He shaved off his hairs from his head and said, "I have shaved off all my hairs. Now see what nature does to maintain the balance on my head. Come and see in a month." Now they have to wait for a month, how the nature helps them. Peter couldn't understand what on earth and wise grandfather meant by this. Now here Peter was unable to understand what is going on, what the grandfather is going to do, and went home none the wiser. So he went home without any understanding. The wise grandfather of the Greens waited exactly 1 month inside the cave for Peter to come. Now what did the grandfather do? The wise grandfather of the Green waited exactly 1 month inside the cave for Peter to come. Now he stayed in a cave and he waited for a month to Peter to come. He knew that all he needed was patience for his hairs to grow back and to teach the boy a lesson. Now, grandfather was already knowing this, that he needs patience to grow the hairs again and to teach the boy a lesson. This was the lesson that the grandfather wanted to teach the boy, that was Peter. At the end of the month, Peter revisited the green cave and was surprised to see the grandfather with a head full of hair again. Now what happened? Peter was very much excited and surprised to see the grandfather with the head full of hair again. The hairs have come back again, and he was very much surprised. Peter understood the wise grandfather's message. He said, "Thank you, Grandfather Green." Now Peter was very happy, and then he understood what the message that grandfather wanted to give him. He said, "Thank you, Grandfather Green. I have learned a lot from you. You have taught me two things. First, we look after our natural resources in order to continue using them. Second, we must be patient with nature as well as learn to be patient like it." Now he has learned two things. First, we should look after our natural resources. You all know what are the natural resources. In order to continue using them, like water is a natural resource which we are getting from nature, and if we will take disadvantage of using that thing, and if someday will come in future, it will be not there for us. So that is why we have to be very careful while using the natural resources. Second thing, we must be patient. We all should be patient with the nature as well as learn to be patient like it. We should have patience in our nature also, and in our nature or in our behavior, and we should be patient with the nature, the natural things. So the moral of the story is, patient is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Patient is what? Bitter, sour. But when we wait for something, when we wait for patiently for something, the fruit is always sweet. The fruit is always sweet. So here we have ended up with the story. Now please revise the story and try to do the exercise part. In the next video we will be doing the exercise. So till then, have a nice day.